Hello, hello, hello. If you don't know who I am, my name is Shook. I make videos for NBA. I make videos for NFL. All these videos get posted on this subreddit called DFS Sports with one S. People post content here, great stuff. I post updates with all the news that comes out. You can talk strategy here. Um, People ask me questions, stuff like that. Really great place to be, in my opinion. If that's something you're interested in. And then if Discord's something you're interested in, I'll have a link to that below where I have in-depth videos going over each slate, player pools for cash and GPPs, cores for cash and GPPs, and much, much more. Gonna take a sip of orange juice before I get into this breakdown. Okay. Where do I begin? Had a good night yesterday. Still had all the bullshit happen yesterday with all the foul trouble and the coaches just causing me incredible amounts of pain and just bullshit every night. It's just been absolutely wild. I mean, where do we begin? Let's start off with Wentz Unseld, Washington Wizards head coach. Daniel Gafford out. Kristaps Porzingis out. You know, let's play Rui Hashimura. 2 minutes in the second half. 2 minutes in the second half. Let's dust off Anthony Gill and play Anthony Gill 530 minutes over Rui Hashimura. You almost lost the game, Unseld, because of that. You almost lost the game. Good job being a coach. Absolutely a disgrace. You should be ashamed of yourself. Rui Hashimura playing less minutes with Gafford and Kristaps Porzingis out is an absolute crime. You deserve to be punished. You deserve to be banned from the league. Where else do we go? Good old Kyle Kuzma. I fade this guy every time with Kristaps Porzingis in or out, and he just absolutely nukes the slate. I finally buy into this little motherfucker. Oh, of 150,000 shooting. Goes for 30 fantasy points in like 50 minutes. Where else do we start? DeJounte Murray. No Trae Young. Way too cheap. Turns into Tony Snell for 35 minutes. I had to watch this guy get doubled and just look lost out there. Just absolutely disgraceful performance. Also, the Milwaukee Bucks, you should be ashamed of yourself. You should take into consideration that I rostered DeJounte Murray tonight, and you should have not doubled him. You guys should be ashamed of yourselves for doubling DeJounte Murray when he's in my lineup tonight. You guys deserve to be fired. Kevin Porter Jr. Absolutely breaking the night slate. I'm like, man, half the field faded this guy. I'm going to win all the money tonight. It's the second quarter. I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, KPJ is going to come back in soon. He's going to get back into that rhythm. He's absolutely going to triple double tonight because he had like 5 boards, 4 assists, and 5 points in like 10 minutes. I'm like, yes, this is the night I finally buy into Kevin Porter Jr. It's going to be a good night slate. Injured. Doesn't play after the first quarter. Done for the game. KJ Martin starts the second half. We get no news. Just gone. I'm losing it, guys. I want to punch holes in walls. I'm just skip ahead of this if you don't want to hear this stuff. I'm losing it. I just want to punch holes. I want to slam my keyboard. I just want to. Yeah. Oh, also, let's go over my lineup: Dejounte Murray, Zach LaVine, Denny Avdija, Kyle Kuzma, Nikola Vucevic, Malik Monk, Rui Hashimura, Jalen Smith. Under-owned Jalen Smith with no Miles Turner turns into Austin Rivers. Phenomenal point per minute guy. Jalen Smith has the team to himself. No Miles Turner. Just absolutely turns into like Austin Rivers. How do you go for 3 rebounds and 7 points in 25 minutes? If you look at his game log, he's literally going for 30 fantasy points in like 10 minutes. Just look. Just look. Absolute smash play once Miles Turner got ruled out. Bust. Low-owned Malik Monk with no Kevin Huerter. Doesn't play into the second half, just benched. Let's take a look at my night slate lineup. Blowout. Just blowouts. The game that should have blown out, blew out. I knew the risk there, but the other games on the main slate today that should have blown out, just stay close. What? How many games stay close that could have blown out today? Memphis at Spurs, Pacers at Kings. What else? Bucks Hawks. Like this was like a 30-point game at one point. The Knicks Pacers game was a 30-point game at one point. Like what is going on in the NBA? That's enough arguing. That's enough tilting. I'm sure it's probably fucking annoying for you guys, but I had to do it. That's what we do on this channel. If you don't like it, you're not gonna like me. So let's get into this. I believe 6-game slate for tomorrow. It's a pretty good one if you ask me. But I'm going insane, boys. I'm literally going insane. Alright, let's go over it. So it's a tough spot for Oklahoma City. I don't really have interest in anyone here. We saw, SGA, he's been pretty quiet of late. With Giddey back, just the peripheral stats are way down. Good thing with him, though, he's going to play huge minutes if the game stays close. If the game stays close, he's probably going to have a big game. So him or Giddey, one of the two are probably going to have a big game if this game stays close. They're in play for GPPs, but I'm not too in love with either. I think there are better plays on the slate, in my opinion, and then I'm not going to go to the value. Like, you can consider a guy like Kendrick Williams, who's been a pretty big part of this rotation of late. They started Eugene Omorie last game, but he didn't. I think he played like 15 minutes. Yeah, so can't really go there. So honestly, there's just not much on Oklahoma City for me. My favorite play is always just going to be SGA from this team. But I think you can consider Giddey and Kendrick, but I don't think they're good plays to me. So, phenomenal spot here for the Sixers. I mean, if you think this game stays close, like Joel Embiid looks phenomenal. If you think it stays close, he's too cheap in this matchup. He's going to absolutely abuse whoever they put on him, whether that's Kendrick, whether that's Eugene Omorie. Just a phenomenal spot here. I don't see how he fails if this game stays close. So, love Embiid as the spend up, and I don't hate Harden either. 28 minutes went for 57, 26 minutes went for 61. Another spot here where you could just see the top two guys just absolutely nuke the slate if this game stays close. So I think both the top two guys are fine. I definitely do prefer Embiid to Harden. I think Harden's definitely appropriately priced with Embiid back, but yeah, I love Embiid if this game stays close. Outside of that, it's just impossible to really get to anyone else. Like, they're all just still priced up from when everyone was out. So, it's really hard to get to anyone else on the Sixers. So, favorite play, definitely going to be Joel Embiid, but I think Harden is firmly in play. Harden is the thumbnail. We make the thumbnails about a week in advance. Embiid was out, so that's why he was the thumbnail. But I think he's still firmly in play. And the thumbnail, in my opinion, shout out to J-Rock, looks absolutely amazing. I don't think there's better. I don't think anyone has a better thumbnail in the industry, people making videos, than the thumbnails that J-Rock makes for me. It's just, they're beautiful. They're works of art. So shout out to him. You all should shout him out as well. They're absolutely amazing. So tough spot here for Milwaukee. I mean, what is going on with Giannis of late? He scored 7 points today. 7. I don't understand what's going on with Giannis of late. You have a tough spot going up against Miami. They play slow. They play a really good defense. You also have Bam Adebayo back, so Giannis Antetokounmpo, nothing more than a contrarian GPP play to me. I'd much rather play Embiid. I'd much rather play Kyrie for cheaper. I'd much rather play Siakam for cheaper. I'd much rather play LeBron. So right now, Giannis in this matchup is going to rank pretty low for me on spend ups. I think Drew Holiday is a pretty good play once again. Drew Holiday is an above 8K player with no Chris Middleton, so I still think he's a little bit too cheap. But when you factor in the matchup, I think it's more appropriately priced now. But I think he's definitely still in play. Going to be the clear number 2 on offense. Guy that can stuff the stat sheet. Obviously, a phenomenal defender, can get those defensive stats. So you can just rack up those DraftKings points very, very quickly. Outside of that, there's nothing that I want to play on this team. So just the top 2 guys. So favorite play going to be Drew Holiday from Milwaukee. Let's move on to Miami. So we have Bam Adebayo back. We have Tyler Herro out. We have Kyle Lowry out. We have Caleb Martin out. We have Haywood Highsmith probable. And then everyone else out. So obviously it's a really tough spot here. Like if you want to go to Butler, if you want to go to Bam as contrarian spend ups, I wouldn't hate you for it. These 2 guys are going to have insane usage rates with no Tyler Herro and no Kyle Lowry. So I think they're good GPP plays. Victor Oladipo at this price tag, gonna play huge minutes. He'll be productive in that second unit. I just think the ceiling isn't really intact here at this price tag. If he was cheaper, I would have a lot more interest in, but another guy that's in play, Max Strus will probably start at 5.3K. He'll play massive minutes. Very, very low floor when he's not hitting his shots, but when he hits his shots, he has this type of upside. So more of a ceiling +4 play for GPPs if you want to go there. Not going to go to the bigs with Bam Adebayo back, but there is a value play here I do like. So I expect Gabe Vincent to start once again at the point. I expect him to play pretty big minutes. Historically, hasn't been a bad point per minute guy. I know the matchup is not good at all, but I think he's a pretty solid value play with his role right now in the team with no Harrow and no Kyle Lowry. And then I'm not going to play Highsmith. He's just too bad of a point per minute guy for me to go to. Especially with Bam Adebayo back on this slate. So, tough spot here for Charlotte. LaMelo definitely ranks low for. Favorite play from Miami definitely going to be Gabe Vincent for me. Point per dollar. So Charlotte, Toronto, definitely a tougher spot here. We do have Kelly Oubre out. We have Gordon Hayward going to be out for tomorrow as well. I mean, LaMelo's matchup proof. Like he's always going to have a ceiling. He's always going to stuff the stat sheet. I just worry that this game could get out of hand. Like it also could be pretty slow pace. Charlotte's actually been playing a lot slower this season. I mean, I think a lot of that was due to LaMelo being out, but maybe it's going up now that LaMelo's back. But Toronto's tough, man. Matchup wise, super, super tough. They're not a team that I really want to target, but LaMelo's always in play for me. Terry Rozier, if they're going to be focused on LaMelo, which I think they are going to be, it's going to open up more opportunities for Terry Rozier at 7.3K. And he's really benefited from that. Last game, it happened. They focused on LaMelo, left open shots for Terry Rozier. He went 14 of 19 from the field, 5 for 9 from 3, 50.75 DraftKings points. If they're going to do that again, I don't hate it. He has that shooting guard eligibility as well. The bigs in this matchup, I'll gladly pass on at their respective prices. And then with no Gordon Hayward, you're going to continue to see Jalen McDaniels start at 5.3K. He's just like a super safe play to me. If you want to go there in like cash games, be my guest. But I don't really think the ceiling is there at this price tag. But just a super, super safe play to me. If you think any of the bigs get into foul trouble, Mark Williams will play the backup 5. Good point per minute guy. Always a playable dart in large field GPPs for me. Favorite play from Charlotte, point per dollar. Definitely going to be Terry Rozier for me. So Toronto, it's a phenomenal spot here. Now, we did see the starters lose minutes last game. We saw Fred, maybe it was because of the blowout, I'm not sure. It wasn't really a blowout though. We saw Fred only play 33. We saw Scotty only play 31. We saw OG only play 31. We saw Trent play only 31. So I wonder if Nurse is going to run that same rotation where they only play their guys 30 minutes. I'm not sure. Like, Siakam still played 36 minutes, so I'm not too worried about him, but definitely a little bit concerned with the other guys. But I think Siakam makes for a good pay up option here. Charlotte has been absolutely terrible against bigs. I said it last video. You could see him go for like a 30-point triple double here. He almost did that, and if he did that, he would have went for like 65. Once again, I think this is a spot where he could go for like a 30-point triple double here. I think just Charlotte's been one of the worst rebounding teams in the league, I want to say. Even though Mason Plumlee's been very good at rebounding. Don't fact check me on that. I feel like I'm wrong, but just a smash spot here for Siakam. I think he looks like a good pay up option. Fred, Barnes, OG, they're all just fine plays for me. Point per dollar. I don't know who I'd prefer from those three. Gary Trent, I think, is appropriately priced. And then they're running such a weird rotation. It's really hard to get to the bench guys. So, favorite play from Toronto, definitely going to be Siakam for me. And let's move on to Boston. So I don't know if... Okay, so Smart is going to be out. Is today Wednesday? What day is today? Okay, so today was Wednesday. So we're going to have to see if Smart's going to be out. We have to see if Al Horford... I think it's a back-to-back. I don't know if Al Horford plays back-to-backs. Does he? He might not. So keep an eye on that news. But keep an eye on Smart, Robert Williams news. Like, if they're both out and Al Horford plays, you can consider him for value. I think it'd be a pretty good value play if Robert Williams is out and Al Horford plays. Just gets such a big boost. I'm not scared of Claxton defensively either. Not a lot of value on this slate either, and he has that power forward eligibility. So, would like Horford if Robert Williams is out. If for some reason Horford's out and Robert Williams plays, then I like Robert Williams at 4.7K. Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, I haven't really been into this season too much. I just think they're just suchly appropriately priced. I think they're a little bit overpriced, honestly. Like if Smart's out, I would definitely have interest, but if Smart's in, I have no interest. If Smart's out, definitely a little bit of interest. Brogdon, White, if Smart's out, they'll get a bump, but I think now they're definitely appropriately priced. White definitely the safer play, but Brogdon definitely has a lot more upside. But now they are priced differently, so I don't really have a lean on which I like more. Grant Williams, you can consider if Rob is out or if Smart's out. He'll have to play huge minutes, but more out there for his defense, but would be a playable value at sub 4K. Let's go over Brooklyn. So a lot to like on Brooklyn tomorrow. A lot to like. So we have Kevin Durant out. We have Claxton probable. Kyrie Irving, I mean, it's a tough matchup, but he's just entirely too cheap with no Kevin Durant. He should be like a 9.5 to 10.5K player with no Kevin Durant. Just the usage rate is going to be absolutely insane. Look at who else he's playing around. He's playing around Claxton, Ben Simmons, Royce O'Neal, TJ Warren, Seth Curry, Joe Harris, Yuta Watanabe. That's the team he is playing around. He is going to have like a 40% usage rate in this game. I don't see how I can fade him tomorrow. I think he looks absolutely phenomenal. If Robert Williams is out and Horford starts at the 5, I would definitely have some interest in Nicholas Claxton. I think Ben Simmons at 5.4K is going to be asked to do more. He's probably going to have to play bigger minutes. I think he looks really good at 5.4K. I think Royce O'Neal at 4.5K is definitely a playable value. Definitely gets a boost. I don't know who they're going to start. They could start Warren. They could start Curry. I think they'll keep Joe Harris off the bench. So, like, if we get TJ Warren starting at sub 4K, he's going to be a really good value play, really good point per minute guy. Even if he comes off the bench, I still think he's a pretty good value play. So like TJ Warren regardless. I think Seth Curry, if he starts, would be firmly in play. He would be too cheap, but does have a low floor if he's not hitting his shots. And then if you want to take darts on guys like Yuta Watanabe, be my guest, but I was just reading the next guarantee bought out his contract for the rest of the season Friday. Okay, that's good to see. I don't know if he'll be in the rotation though. That's the thing. When was the last time they played? So it was the 8th. I would assume he'd be in the rotation. I know earlier in the year they were relying on him heavily when players were out. So I would assume he'd be in the rotation, like just a dart for large field tournaments. But yeah, definitely some things to like on this Brooklyn side of things. I'm gonna take a sip of orange juice. I'll pull my headset off so you don't hear it. 1 second. Okay. All right. Dallas at Lakers, so not a lot of value on this slate, so it's going to be hard to pay up for Luka. But if you feel comfortable with the value, I think Luka looks amazing. Just phenomenal spot here. The Lakers play fast; they don't play defense. Guards been destroying the Lakers, so if you find the value for Luka, be my guest. Play him. I think he looks amazing. I think it's a really good spot for Christian Wood. I actually don't hate him on this slate. Wished he was a little bit cheaper, but I think the spot is good enough to where I think he's firmly in play. Don't hate it. And I'm not going to play anyone else. Favorite play on Brooklyn, definitely going to be Kyrie. Favorite play on Boston, if Robert Williams out, it's going to be Al Horford. If Al Horford's out, it's probably going to be Robert Williams. And then if everyone's in, it's probably going to be Jason Tatum. Let's move on to the Lakers. So I believe we have Dorian Finney-Smith still out. So yeah, I think it's a good spot for LeBron. Just super, super safe. Like, you know you're going to get like 55 to 60 from LeBron. Just with no AD, he just has to do everything for this team. Like, he's playing alongside just absolute scrubs right now. You also have Patrick Beverley questionable, so if he's out, you're going to have more run for guys like, I don't know, Christie, Dennis Schroeder. So, like, the guys LeBron's playing with right now are just absolute scrubs. Like, so LeBron, very, very safe. As far as spend ups goes, I think I prefer Embiid. If you think that game stays close, like, I think I prefer Luka, but I think LeBron is a very good spend up option going up against this Dallas team, who I don't think will have an answer for him. Westbrook's been playing a lot more minutes of late, but I think he's a little bit overpriced now. Thomas Bryant, if you want to ride the hot streak, like I said, in love with this guy. I think he's going to be a top 10 center in the league soon enough. He might already be. I don't hate it if you want to go there. And the value is just disgusting. Last game here, guys, Cleveland at Portland. So there's just nothing for me. Like Mitchell, Garland, fine GPP plays. I think Garland's a little bit too cheap, but I'd much rather play Drew Holiday. I think for around the same price, but I think he's too cheap. I think definitely my favorite play on Cleveland. Favorite play on Dallas, Luka. Favorite play on the Lakers, LeBron. So like Garland, I think Mitchell's appropriately priced. The bigs, they're fine. I think Jared Allen's in a good spot up against Yusuf Nurkic. And then not going to go to anyone else. On to Portland. So the big news here is Damian Lillard is questionable. So if he's in, there's just not much for me. Like Dame in a tough spot, meh. Grant, no thank you. I will say I don't care about the matchup for Nurkic. His minutes are going way, way up of late. So if he's going to continue to get close to 40 minutes, he's still too cheap. So I don't really care about the matchup here. I like him quite a bit once again if he plays. Simon's meh, Hart meh. They're running such a tight rotation, so can't get to the value. But if Damian Lillard is out, there's gonna be some things to like. Simons is gonna be like one of the best plays on the slate if Damian Lillard is out. Grant would be in play. Hart would be in play. Shaden Sharp would be in play. Gary Payton would be in play. I want to see who they start, but I don't think Gary Payton would play huge minutes regardless. But he could be in play, and then like Shaden Sharp would be in play. Like they probably start one of Sharp or Payton. Or they can go to like they can go like bigger with like I don't know Watford, or they can go Keon Johnson. But very very low usage guy. So would prefer like Gary Payton or Sharp to start. But yeah, man, this Damian Lillard news is absolutely huge because Simons, if he's out, would be the lock of the century. He would just be entirely too cheap and look absolutely fucking amazing if Damian Lillard's out. So, yeah, I hope this video helped you guys out, and have a good night.